who's a player who top-8'd in Columbus and lost his 2 win-ins when we were in Philadelphia. So it's been a good run for Rudy thus far this year. Number 25 on our Season 1 leaderboard, and he is quickly climbing the ranks as the players have been given the go-ahead. And we will start round number 6 here, Underground Sea there for Briksza. And we'll see what Herzog wants to lead off with. This is Savannah, and now with some other runes, immediately putting Briksza to the test.
Yeah, and this is the type of card that, you know, it's one of the big incentives to play Maverick. In any sort of creature matchup, if Mother Runes goes unchecked, it's almost impossible to attack and block. You need a sweeper or an overwhelming advantage on the board to be able to keep up with Mother Runes.
Polluted Delta will be sacrificed here by Rudy, and he will get himself a copy of Bayou. We'll see what the follow-up's going to be.
Thomas Herzog, you may remember from some of the best of SCG live footage.
Oh, yes.
Very memorable matchup against Ben Weinberg. Also a former member of the prestigious Michigan State basketball program. A legit 7-footer.
I see we're just throwing around the term prestigious now.
Michigan State is one of the iconic NCAA men's basketball programs.
As a Purdue graduate, I am going to have to respectfully disagree.
It's just true.
It's just going to not agree with you. We are better than them in every way. Boiler up, baby. Boiler up. Going to sacrifice a fetch line here, Will Herzog. His Mother of Runes is safe, still in play. So that thing's going to cause some problems for Briksza over the course of this game, you have to imagine. Going to search up another Savannah. And we'll see what Herzog wants to do here on the second turn of the game. He will go with a Thalia, Garden of Three. We're going to make things cost a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, this is a real throwback start here. I don't know if Rudy's got a lot of outs to these kind of openings. He does have a main deck Toxic Deluge. That card's very potent in this matchup. Now, getting to 4 mana might be a little tough. You know, getting to 4 mana in Legacy in general is hard, and Maverick comes equipped with Wastelands and such, but...
Deathrite Shaman will help him get to that mana. Briksza will pass the turn back. Tarmogoyf's real small. So, gonna pass it over to Herzog. No attacks to be made with the Lurgoyf.
So an interesting addition to Thomas's deck here. He does have the Green Sun Zenith package, as you would imagine. 1 copy of Courser Prufix in the main deck.
The old Courser, huh?
Yep.
Don't see it a ton. Here's a Kusali Pride Mage. Tarmogoyf is now happy where it is.
Yep. Had to bob and weave a little bit, but
just a touch. Here's a brainstorm.
Get there eventually.
Maybe. Who even knows? 2 cards going to go back here in just a moment. Briksza will draw a card. Verdant Catacombs was the draw. Wasteland going to take care of Savannah. Now Deathrite Shaman going to go active. Looks like it's time for Liliana too. So there that is. And he's going to make Herzog sacrifice a creature right away. And he will be sacrificing the Kusali Pride Mages. There's nothing to target right now. Most of the time, nothing really to target in this deck. Yes, Baleful Strix. Yes, Charlotte's Agent, but those are not exciting targets.
The only argument here for sacrificing something else if Thomas wants to actively wants to get his Dahlia off the table to free up his mana.
Yeah. There's a Horizon Canopy. He'll have to pay 1 to cast whatever's coming next. And what's next is the Swords of Plowshares. That'll get Tarmogoyf off of the table. This will allow Thomas to actually finish off that Liliana, which is a pretty good spot to be in.
And more importantly, finish off the Liliana without having to tap the Mother of Runes. If he didn't have a removal spell, he could have used Mother of Runes to give Thalia protection from green and finish off the Liliana. But then his Mother of Runes is exposed to removal spells, and that's something that, you know, Thomas is looking to avoid.
Briksza going to sacrifice a Verdant Catacombs. Looks like he's going to be playing a Jace the Mind Sculptor this turn, so... Not a bad turn there for Rudy, but it almost forced him to Fate Seal now.
Yeah, he definitely can't unsummon here as Mother of Runes is active. And if he just goes and brainstorms, he risks losing the Jace to combat next turn or over the next couple of turns. But Fate Sealing is not that potent either. And you can see the types of headaches that Mother of Runes creates. I mean, I think Rudy would be able to easily win this game if it weren't for Mother of Runes. And instead, you know, he's expending a lot of really powerful resources and not getting that far.
Here's a Fate Seal. Rudy's going to Fate Seal himself, leave that card on top. And we'll pass the turn back over to Herzog. Herzog going to draw. Very, very unlikely that he can kill Jace this turn. Start by playing a Windswept Heath for the turn. There's Quasali Pride Mage. That'll allow Thalia to come in here for 3 points of damage thanks to the Exalted trigger. So now Jace is down to 2. And Herzog will pass the turn back. Abrupt Decay and now Shardless Agent in hand. You can see the kind of trouble that Mother of Runes is causing in this game. As Abrupt Decay is basically useless.
It's the whole game so far. I think Rudy would have run away with this game already if it weren't for Mother of Runes. Instead, he's got removal spells, Planeswalker activations, and so forth that are just a lot more complicated to use.
He does have some nice cards to draw to. As you mentioned, Toxic Deluge is a fantastic draw in quite a few situations here. Here's a Shardless Agent. Ancestral Visions will be played. It will cost 1. So Rudy will draw 3. Now the Agent's in as well.
Yeah, that was a big one there for Rudy, because if he hits, say, a removal spell there, it's not very good because of Mother of Runes.
Yep. So now we're going to play a little game called Protect the Jace.
Yeah, for as long as Rudy can. Although at this point it's not doing a ton of work, it's still at least a huge threat that keeps Thomas occupied.
And Thomas, oddly enough, his mana is being bottlenecked a little bit by his own Thalia, though you do wonder how much of a problem that is causing him.
There's 13 spells in this deck, 4 Swords of Plowshares, 4 Green Sun Zenith, 2 copies of Sylvan Library, and then an equipment package to go alongside his 2 copies of Stoneforge Mystic, a Sword of Fire and Ice, a Sword of Light and Shadow, and an Umazawa's Jitte.
Shardless Agent going to block the Quasali Pride Mage, so they'll trade. Thalia going to chip away a little bit here.
And Herzog unwilling to use the Mother of Runes there, wants to leave that up at all costs.
As I think he should, is now here's Gaddock T.
I think Gaddock T might be another card that's poised for a bit of an uptick if you anticipate just a lot more copies of Dig Through Time floating around in the metagame.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me one bit.
And it's really compelling to watch Herzog keep up in this game where, you know, on the surface, he's losing on almost every front. Card advantage, the power level of the spells that have been cast so far, the amount of card advantage, you know, Rudy's generated, but Mother of Runes by itself is worth a lot of cards.
Just still having a real difficulty just getting through this Jace. And, you know, we're playing this sub-game, obviously, of just do whatever it takes to get Jace off the table. That's all that really matters at this point. Rudy has to go out of way to try to protect it. Here's Abrupt Decay going to go after Thalia. I do wonder if Thomas is going to protect this here or let it go.
This seems like a good spot. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you force Rudy to have another removal spell. If he does that anyway, he's going to be able to get to something. Getting 2 Abrupt Decays in Rudy's entire turn here, and not even losing the Mother of Runes necessarily.
Yep, so now there is the second Decay. And that's all this effort just to get Thalia off the table. As Jace goes down to 2, but again, you just see how problematic Mother of Runes can be.
I was a little surprised there to see Rudy go after Thalia and not Gaddock Teague, because it feels like you would want to have an opportunity to cast Dig Through Time.
Yeah, because
There's also this.
Yeah,
which is
this
these
is
decks
a
often.
disaster.
Yeah, these decks often play numerous copies of Thalia, but only one Gadok Teak.
Yeah. Here's Brainstorm. Baleful Strix, Toxic Deluge among the cards drawn here. Deluge the big one.
Yeah, well, this now allows Rudy a really good path of deluging everything and then trying to use Jace to win the game against an opponent with not that much in the way of resources and dig through time left over in hand.
Deathrite Shaman going to activate. Here is Toxic Deluge. This is big because this is going to clear the entire board now.
Yep. I mean, Rudy does lose his Deathrite Shaman here, but having the Jace left over is worth a lot.
Yeah, I think he's probably A-okay with that. Now Herzog has to rebuild everything. So the one-of Toxic Deluge, and again, you're able to play one-ofs in these blue decks because of a card like Dig Through Time, like Brainstorm and the fetching.
Yep.
Makes for very robust deck building. Now it's time to go Jacing. Baleful Strix, Dig Through Time looks like the cards that are going to go on top. And they are. Now there's a Wasteland. Good turn there.
Yeah, not
That's
bad.
for sure.
Not bad.
Able to hardcast Brainstorm. Tax it, they lose the board away. Brainstorm with the Jace, Wasteland, and I guess that's it for me. Ah, the sneaky Dryad Arbor.
So there's 2 Pride Mages in Herzog's list, so a land and a Pride Mage, and he's right back in it.
Well, 2 prime matches total.
Yes.
Believe both are done for. Sacrifice
one fell to Liliana.
Yep, sacrifice one to Liliana. The other one lost in combat, or traded in combat to a Charlotte's agent.
And 0 copies of Noble Hierarch in his list.
A little surprising there, but depends on how you want to build your Maverick deck, because some people opt towards Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, you can only afford so many mana creatures, and Deathrite is the one that most of these decks go to now.
Well, there's neither Reliquary. Have to pay a little bit to get it in play. But now this puts Briksza to the test. Here's a Baleful Strix, which will draw a card. It's Dig Through Time. We all know that. Now there's Deathrite Shaman. There's Verdant Catacombs. Make you pick that up. And simply pass the turn back over to Herzog. One of those turns was better than the other.
Well, here's the big test. If Herzog can get this Knight of the Reliquary to stick, he's got some hope of getting back into it.
Yeah.
But if Rudy finds a removal spell, something like Abrupt Decay, then his board plus the Jace staying alive will likely be too much for Thomas to overcome.
Herzog going to sacrifice a Windswept Teeth. There's a Plains. Now there's Neither Reliquary again.
And Thomas knows, you know, if this knight is killed, he's going to have a really hard time winning.
It will be relatively difficult. Rudy delving, of course, for Dig Through Time. So look at this top 7 and take 2 with them here in just a moment. Quite a few options there available. Charlotte's Agent, Tarmogoyf. Likely going to let Ancestral Visions go, but could get a little creative by putting it back on top of his deck with the Jace.
And Rudy doesn't even have to kill the Knight of the Reliquary right now.
Yeah.
He's got the board pretty well gummed up. Of course, the sooner the better he finds an answer to Knight of the Reliquary, but he can also just try to chump block for a while here and use Jace.
Him to Torak. Got to clear out Herzog's hand. Jace activation. Dig Through Time among the cards. It's been a little while since we've seen Jace kind of just pull away in a game like this.
Another card that gets a lot better with no Treasure Cruise floating around.
Yeah.
The games are just going to take a little bit longer.
Creeping Tar Pit will come in. Tarmogoyf, Dig Through Time, the cards that are left over. Rudy having a graveyard just from playing Magic.
Yep. Has made no exceptional effort.
deploy the Tarmogoyf.
I'm surprised that Rudy's first order of business would not have been casting Dig Through Time again. Because if he finds Abrupt Decay, he just casts Abrupt Decay on the Knight, and the game's almost certainly over.
Yep. With Thomas cardless, there's only one more card to really worry about at this point, which is Knight of the Reliquary. You know, an activation from Knight of the Reliquary may not be the worst thing in the world, but in a situation like this, it's like, well, it's better than nothing.
Yep. And the thing is, in the event that you fail to find a kill spell, you still just cast your Tarmogoyf. It's not like you're giving up on that play.
Yeah. There's the Zenith. Now, if the Zenith for 3, this will allow Herzog to fight another Knight of the Reliquary, presumably. Oh, it looks like he might be interested in something else.
Oh,
Value Town, USA.
because if it's not a land on top, you shuffle with your Knight.
Nice.
Nice.
You see the angles, all of them.
This will unlikely be enough to pull Thomas back into this game, but it is very cool.
Hey, stranger things have happened. That's for sure.
Ho ho!
Wasteland,
The plot thickens.
gain a life. Fire that off, get the tar pit out of there. Got to see that top card now, too. Stoneforge Mystic.
Do you want to draw that or do you not want to? Got a way to shuffle your deck on the table.
Yep, your call. Verdant Catacomb is going to be sacrificed here. Gonna get a tropical island. Dig Through Time.
Players who have registered for Commander Pod number 9. Your event is ready to begin.
This could become a legacy staple.
Commander Pod number 9,
I think so.
please make your way to the side events area.
I don't see how the metagame has to be so fast or so non-blue for this card not to be a staple, and I just don't see those two things happening.
Couple Brainstorms, Thoughtseize among the cards. Looks like an Abrupt Decay as well. The risk will one tap and take a draw step. Another copy of Abrupt Decay. That makes life pretty easy. Go Decaying.
A little fast here from Rudy as Thomas does get to respond.
Yeah. Thomas is going to respond. He's going to respond by conceding.
Yeah, the advantage here is so overwhelming that, no reason to stress on it.
With a Jace out there, an active Tarmogoyf, Herzog knows it is just about over, so he'll concede that game, and Rudy Briscoe will win game number 1. Charlotte Sultai up a game here over Maverick as we turn our attention to the sideboard. And we will start with Herzog in his Maverick deck. What kind of options does he have?
3 copies of Thoughtseize, 2 Containment Priests, 2 copies of Abrupt Decay, 2 Banishing Lights, 2 Zealous Persecutions, a Gadok Teague, an Aethersworn Candace, a Kasali Pride Mage, and a Choke. I'll bring in the other copy of Gadok Teague, playing deck against a deck with Jace, Force of Will, Dig Through Time. I think the 1 Choke is fine here, even though Rudy does have some workarounds. It's going to have moments of being very powerful. And I think some mixture of the Thoughtseizes, Abrupt Decays, and Banishing Lights are very good. I don't know if he wants all that stuff, but Rudy's deck does play to the board, does have a lot of Planeswalkers. He's a controlling deck in general, and so answers to Planeswalkers and discard spells could be nice here.
Other side here for Briscoe, he does have a Force of Will, a Vendilion Click, a Thoughtseize, a Disfigure, 2 Grafdigger's Cages, Numazawa's Jite, a Pithing Needle, a Baleful Strix, a Pernicious Deed, 2 Golgari Charms, a Maelstrom Pulse, and 2 Nile Spell Bombs. The one that stands out there for me the most is the Pernicious Deed.
Pernicious Deed is super, super sweet against Herzog's deck. Past that, Rudy has some other pretty solid options here. He has another Baleful Strix he can bring in. I think the 2 Golgari Charms and the Maelstrom Pulse are nice here. The Disfigure, the Jite, the Needle. There's plenty of stuff to Needle and Maverick. I don't know if he wants all this stuff, but again, a lot of good additions here for Rudy's deck.
Well, these players will shuffle up here for game number 2. Should be a fascinating one between Charlotte Sultai and Maverick. Oh, we will talk about the feature match area, a place that you can join actually right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hop right in and start away chatting. Now, if you're not a subscriber, you're in slow mode chat, which you can only post once every 2 minutes. But with a subscription for only $4.99 a month, you get access to slow mode free chat on top of custom emoticons and badges.
Bunch of emoticons available at this point, though we do have more coming on the way, excuse me, and myself, Patrick, Matthias, of course, our Jetpack Penguin, and our Slow Play Turtle. If you have any ideas, definitely get in touch with us. Twitch.tv/SCG Live. We appreciate you guys watching, of course, as we make our way through 9 rounds of Legacy action. We are in round number 6 right now. Well, Rudy Briksza is just off to another nice start. 2015 has been a really good year for him so far.
And, his decks all kind of have the similar characteristics. It really reminds me a lot of the way that Gerard Fabiano builds his Legacy decks, too. There's a lot of good removal spells, tries to be efficient trading 1 for 1, and then a couple of really powerful cards glued together by things like Dig Through Time and Jace the Mind Sculptor to find them.
I think Charlotte Sultai is going to see a lot of play moving forward.
I think so, too.
I think it's a nice deck.
It was the card advantage deck of choice before. It was dwarfed by Treasure Cruise to such a margin that it wasn't really worth playing anymore. But now, Ancestral Visions is, it's another winner of the Treasure Cruise ban. Not a card that was worth playing with Treasure Cruise in the format being so easy to cast, but now drawing 3 cards got a lot harder, and Ancestral Visions is one of the easiest ways in the format to do that.
Visions was just pushed out of the format, and understandably so.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Treasure Cruise was just a much better card for a myriad of reasons. But now Visions can certainly come back, and when Visions comes back, it seems like Charlotte's Agent comes back with it.
Yes.
They are a tag team, and a pretty gosh darn good one.
And if people are playing their own, slow card advantage decks, Charlotte Sultai is the king in those kind of matchups. Plays the best removal, bunch of Planeswalkers, Ancestral Visions, doesn't mess around with Daze and Spell Pierce.
Don't know if it's better than Sultai Delver. I think it's close, but they're also 2 different decks.
They're very different decks. Yeah. I think the Charlotte Sultai matchup against Combo is not palatable, and the Sultai Delver matchup is very good against combo decks. I think that Charlotte Sultai is very, very good against decks that play to the board. The Sultai Delver deck's not necessarily so. So a lot of it is, metagaming.
Well, we're going to watch game number 2 here in just a moment. Thomas Herzog will have the option to play first. He's going to keep his hand, and Briksza is going to mulligan very quickly. Did not like what he saw. So we'll see if the Maverick player can tie things up here. Again, 4 Mother of Runes, 4 Deathray Shamans, only 1 copy of Noble Hierarch. So just have 1 of those hanging out. Maybe a surprise Exalted Trigger or a little additional ramp. Some Qasali Pride Mages in there as well.
It's a Zenith target, and there's moments where you want the 1 Hierarch just for combat purposes. So it's fine to draw, and it's a nice option to have with your Green Sun Zeniths.
We have seen Maverick win during the Treasure Cruise era. David McDarby in Portland did get the job done there. But by and large, this deck really did kind of disappear. We thought an uptick would happen, and there was a little bit more of it, and I suppose it did win a tournament, so that was its crowning achievement during the Treasure Cruise era. But maybe we see more of it moving forward.
I would predict, if anything, we're going to see a little bit less, because the major incentive to play this deck, I think, is an outstanding matchup against that blue-red Delver deck. Now, with that not really being public enemy number 1 anymore, Maverick is still fine, but it doesn't have the same sort of metagame punch that I think it did about a month ago.
Six cards here for Briksza. Inverted Catacombs where Herzog does start. There's a Bayou, and this is a Nile Spellbomb. So a way to keep Knight of the Reliquary in check.
Yeah. Not quite as good here as it against the Nibble Mongoose Delver of Secret style decks, but low opportunity cost and the potential to be quite valuable.
Here's Athalia. Good start here for Herzog. No Mother of Runes, but still not a bad start. There's a Misty Rainforest, and now here's a Baleful Strix. Basically going to search up a copy of Underground Sea. Color's not going to be an issue, and he does even get to draw a card here off the Strix.
I was just confirming something in Rudy's deck. I was thinking, Rudy seems like a 2 Wasteland kind of guy, and he is a 2 Wasteland guy this weekend. Doesn't want 4. He's playing with Jace, and his color mana is a little rough, but wants a few.
This deck is definitely color mana sensitive.
Yes.
Also, this is a deck that does not want to be Wastelanded. He does have a basic swamp and a basic forest, but for the most part, this deck does not like being hit with Wasteland. And was always GTA the draw. Here comes Thalia. Briksza going to go down a little bit lower. And now here's a GTA from Herzog. We'll go back Rudy's way. Abrupt decay the draw. Timely.
Oh, yeah.
There's
This
an attack.
deck's got a lot of answers to Umezawa's GTA, but it was very important for Rudy to find one right about then.
Wasteland is the land to play and a passing of the turn. Herzog will untap and take a draw step here. It's an attempt to equip an attack, but Abrupt Decay is going to mess this up badly. That'll take care of the Thalia, and that might take care of Herzog's entire turn.
The writing was on the wall to such a large extent that Rudy had some sort of removal spell that turn that I don't think Thomas would have made that play unless he absolutely had nothing else to do with his mana. He may have another Thalia in his hand, for example, with a 4th land, so even if it gets killed, not the end of the world.
Well, he very quickly played his Windswept Teeth and sacrificed it, so looks like he does have something else to do this turn. And it's another Thalia, so there you go.
This is not Thomas's first trip around the block.
That's for sure, especially with Maverick. Abrupt Decay the draw. There's a tar pit. Rudy gets to make the exact same play pattern again. As if Herzog was willing to equip last turn, perhaps he's willing to do so yet again. I suppose his pattern could change, but
I think if Herzog has anything else to do with his mana, he'll do it. Because what else is going on here with the mana that Rudy has available? I don't buy it.
It's tough. There's a Cradle. Sometimes you see that in Maverick deck, sometimes you don't. Of course, a land that you can search for.
Yeah, there's a lot of one-ups in this deck that sometimes you want to get them with neither Reliquary, and they don't really harm you if you draw them. So there's a Dryad Arbor, a Caracas, a Gaia's Cradle, a Horizon Canopy. It's all the same story.
There's a Zenith. Well, that's going to resolve. It's for 3. Last time we saw him searching for Courser of Crewfix.
I think this is Zenith for 2 through the Thalia.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you. He's going to get news.
And this is a nice big threat on its own. And Rudy's deck definitely uses the graveyard.
Yeah, I mean, I like this turn, right, where he's able to Zenith for 2. Now he's got 2 creatures in play, so now he can equip the Thalia, force Rudy to have an answer, which he does. He does have a decay to get Thalia off the table. Expose the Brainstorm there very quickly. Not like Thomas can really do a lot about that card.
I felt that that was a pretty risky play from Thomas there of equipping, where he could have just attacked and said go. And then the event that Rudy has a removal spell, which is what you have to really worry about there, you can at least grow the ooze.
Here's a Brainstorm. A GTA for Briksza, along with Ancestral Visions and a Tropical Island.
Yeah, and this GTA is incredible for Rudy right now.
Not bad at all, as he's going to sacrifice. Put the Tropical Island on top of his deck into play, as he knows it's already there.
I was going to say it was rough enough in this spot for Rudy just to get to untap with access to his Nile Spellbomb to nuke Thomas's graveyard with the shields down on the ooze, but this is even better than that.
Yeah. So there's an attack for 1, and Rudy's going to use the counters immediately to get the Scavenging Ooze off the table. No activations allowed, as we'll go back Herzog's way. And the one of Baleful Strix proving to be quite good right now.
Yep. Well, I would assume he brought in the second one.
Perhaps.
This is a good matchup.
Yeah, it's a really good matchup for this card.
Especially in conjunction with Umezawa's GTA, because it's not like Maverick's flush with flyers. And you don't want to use your removal spells on Strixes either.
Green Sun Zenith. This one's for 2. No Thalia in play.
I have to assume this is for Kasali Pride Mage, or some other way to get this GTA off the table.
And there's the Pride Mage. Can't let that thing run away with the game.
Nope. I mean, Thomas is still in quite a bit of trouble. but he's at least got a little bit of time now.
See how he likes to use the prize mage here. Gonna play Thalia. And just pass the turn back with Wasteland at the ready. Ancestral Vision's the draw. There's the attack. And Herzog is going to take care of the Jitte. Certainly not out of the realm of possibility that he takes care of the Strix there.
Well, I think that the Jitte is a huge long-term threat here, and with a Jitte of his own plus a first striking creature, he doesn't have to worry that much about Rudy's Strix right now.
There's Toxic Deluge. So that'll clear away these two creatures. And Briksza does have the opportunity to suspend an Ancestral Vision, so they're getting another turn of using all of his mana.
And now with Thomas out of cards in hand, you can see what Rudy's trying to accomplish here, which is just wear you out, trade 1 for 1, make you answer all these cards, and be left with some leftovers, plus an Ancestral that's ticking down.
Yeah, that's what Shardless Sultai does best. Just grind you down as Ancestral moves down to 3, draws a copy of Shardless Agent. So we'll see what Briksza is able to cascade into. Maelstrom Pulse is not going to account. Tarmogoyf is just fine, though.
It's a blocker, and now there's 2 blockers, so the Jitte is much worse.
Checking the sizing of the Tarmogoyf right now. Looks to be pretty big. It's an artifact creature and land down there. Sorcery 2 looks to be a 5/6. Herzog will draw. Again, just playing off the top of his deck. No more cards in hand. His resources have been exhausted. So just another Deathrite Shaman. Take a look at the graveyard there that Rudy has available. There's a Nile Spellbomb activation. Gonna take care of Herzog's graveyard. Briksza will draw a copy of Underground Sea. Visions will tick down to 2, and the draw step here is another copy of Nile Spellbomb. So the Spellbomb will come into play. And now here's another Tarmogoyf. And now the creatures are ready to come into the red zone.
I'm not a huge fan. Okay, Rudy pumped the brakes there.
Yeah.
I don't like getting the Shardless Agent in there because Thomas can double block, get 2 Jitte counters, and still keep one of his Deathrite Shamans in play.
Yeah.
Tarmogoyf's a safe attack.
Yes. Deathrite Shaman activation. It'll move Tarmogoyf down to a 3/4.
Yeah, I guess instant. Nah, I'm counting 4 or 5.
Yeah, we've got artifact, instant, land. Maybe a creature
Sorcery,
down
there's a
there.
deluge in there.
Yeah, so that should be a 4/5 Tarmogoyf.
Tarmogoyf.
Easy to play with. Fun for the whole family.
Yep.
Vision's down to 1. Here come the Tarmogoyfs. Tropical Island was the draw step. Herzog is in a bad way right now.
Yep.
It's interesting because, you know, these decks, I mean, they're different archetypes, of course, Shardless Sultai, Maverick, but they're really both trying to accomplish the same thing.
Well, Thomas is trying to just lock people out of the game with a bunch of interwoven pieces. And Rudy's deck is very effective at breaking up individual critical parts. And you can see, you know, the big payoffs for Thomas, cards like Knight of the Reliquary, Stoneforge Mystic. Rudy's been able to prevent Thomas from getting that, and when Thomas can't get to that, all he's left with are mana creatures and disconnected parts.
There's a copy of Sylvan Library, but that one's a little late to the party. A card that can certainly take over games on its own. But right now, it's just a little too late. So 2, 3, 4 Tarmogoyfs. Visions is going to resolve. That'll give him a sorcery in the graveyard. 2 Shardless Agents. Briksza going to play one of these in Cascade. Going to go by a Tasker, but there's a 3rd Tarmogoyf. And this kind of card advantage is just too much to overcome, I think.
And it all plays to the board, too. It's not like he's just drawing cards into more card drawers. He's finding attackers, blockers, removal spells. It's more potent than the average, card advantage engine would be in terms of how the matchup plays out.
So 2, 4, 5 Tarmogoyfs. Blocking going to take place. Tarmogoyfs are, of course, going to win these battles.
I mean, Rudy's still got a Cycler left in play in the Nile Spellbomb, a Charlotte's Agent, and a Tarmogoyf.
Yeah. Sorcery going to be removed, so back down to 3/4 go the Tarmogoyfs. But they're still winning in battle here. 2 charge counters will go on to the Jite. Briksza considering deploying maybe the 4th Tarmogoyf in this situation. Maverick, typically with no mass removal effects.
Yep.
No Wrath of God, Day of Judgment, any of that stuff. Some versions way back when played in one of Martial Coup if they were feeling a little frisky.
Oh.
But
Combo with the Cradle in several respects.
you see it, as did some other Maverick players. But those days are very far behind us, to say the least. Herzog looking like he wants to use the Jite here, perhaps.
It might be an opportunity for him to kill a Tarmogoyf before we go into his own turn.
We'll take it on tap. And a little Sylvan Library activation. Might be the last cards he gets to see this game, as Rudy has built quite the board. 4 Tarmogoyfs in play, all 3/4 status. A Charlotte's Agent out there, a Nile Spellbomb in case anything goes wrong in the graveyard. And though Herzog does have a Jite, maybe the most powerful card on the table, it's just really not been able to get it going.
I think he found his choke.
Yes.
But Rudy's got the kill in play.
Choke rather time sensitive, to say the least. It is the kind of card that can play a big role in this matchup, though. Just a little late to the party. There's Courser.
Oh!
I imagine there's a land on top. Oh, yes.
Sylvan Library plus Courser. Combo.
Yeah. Now there's the choke.
A lot of synergies here. A
Yes.
lot of synergies.
Not just a standard all-star anymore.
Nope.
Cradle going to tap for some mana. Looks like there will be an equip here in just a second.
Yeah, Herzog just trying to figure out if there's some way for him to block out of this. The Jite gives him a little room to play with, but it's going to be really hard for him to survive. If not this turn, then next.
The draws up Luda Delta. It's a Charlotte's Agent pre-combat, it looks like. And it is. Cascade. Deathrite Shaman will come in. And here comes everybody. Herzog gonna get ready to block. Though I'm not sure he can make it out alive. At the best, he can end the turn at 10. I suppose Deathrite Shaman is active, so he can end the attack at 12.
Not lose his Courser. Shuffle the deck.
Boom.
Get another look at it.
Saw it. Angles covered.
And it's possible that Herzog can't even really kill one of the agents. He just has to gain 4 inside of combat here.
Looks like he's going to sacrifice the Windswept Teeth. He'll shuffle the choke away, lose one, then he'll gain one back. There's a Dried Arbor. Perhaps that's on blocking duty, too.
Perhaps.
A new wrinkle. Herzog just won't quit.
Unfortunately, he's not drawing to anything here.
He's not drawing him much. It'll take a heck of a string of draws, I think, for him to be able to get back into this. Let's see what Corsair reveals first. Thalia. First strike with GT, not so bad. If he can get to the next turn. It's like a Tarmogoyf will be blocked by Dryad Arbor. Now it's time to figure out how to use this GT. Again, if there's any way that Herzog can make it out of this turn alive, looks like he's going to pump up his Corsair and make it a 4-6.
Yeah, there's a lot of different variables here. You know, if he can use his Corsair to actually kill a Tarmogoyf inside of combat, that's really valuable. He has to answer the board in some way or another. So in terms of saving damage, the best thing you can do this turn is gain 4, but gaining 4 is not a long-term solution.
Death Right Shaman going to bite the dust. 2 charge counters on the GT. There's an activation of Nile Spellbomb, and now a passing of the turn. So a small victory there for Herzog to make it out of that turn alive. Sylvan Library, here are the cards.
And this appears to be a dead end.
Yeah, you see Mother of Runes, Karakas, Thalia. So Karakas going to stay on top of the deck. Mother of Runes going to be cast. Excuse me, Thalia going to be cast. Karakas will come into play. Trigger gain of life. There's Mother of Runes.
Attention, modern challenge players.
He was able to hang on a little last turn. I don't think he can do it again, though. He's at 2 this go around, and Rudy only lost to Tarmogoyf. Does have a Death Right Shaman, but now everything's going to come across.
Yeah, Rudy not even bothering to count. It's just this can only go so badly.
Yeah, pretty much. Tarmogoyfs are 4/5s right now, too, so really, what's the worst that could happen, Rudy's saying?
And there's a Death Right Shaman activation lingering here as well.
Yeah.
Challenge registration will be closing in just a minute. So if you still have
Herzog going to go through the motions here and see if there is a block possible. As Rudy says, you block by 2 Tarmogoyfs because those are the biggest creatures. 10 damage is going to come through. Now, of course, Thalia does get to strike first, so that'll be a trigger on the GT, which means GT will go up to 4 counters.
It still means that gain 8 is Thomas's ceiling for the most damage he can prevent this turn.
Correct.
And that puts him at 10 with a Goyf, a Death Right Shaman, 3 Charlotte's Agents connecting.
Correct.
So I do not think he can survive this combat.
It's going to kill a Shardless Agent. And now there's the Death Right Shaman activation when there are no charge counters, and that is going to do it. Rudy Briksza is going to win this match here over Thomas Herzog. 2-0. Charlotte Sultai will take care of Maverick. And for Briksza, it's another great start to a 2-day 20K Open Series event.